Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Life with Shenita Talk Show. I am Dr. Shenita Connolly, and I am so excited to share this tonight's broadcast. Actually, we're going to be celebrating dads, fathers. So, we would like for you, me and my guest, would like for you all to share this broadcast so that others will be able to see it. We celebrated Mothers last month, and it is very important that we acknowledge and celebrate fathers/dads. So tonight we're going to do just that. So if you would like and share this broadcast. Um, Again, I am Shanita Connolly, and we're going to talk about our dads and how they play a vital role in our life. So let's talk about that. Fathers, like mothers, as we said last week, are pillars in the development of a child's emotional well being. Children look to their fathers to lay foundations for rules and to enforce them. I know I remember that being the case in my house growing up. I'm not sure about you all, but my mom would say something maybe once or twice, and after that, it was dad who stepped in if we did not toe the line, as we would say, or correct our behavior. Dad would lay the hammer down. Dads also, or children also, look to their fathers to provide a feeling of security, both physical and emotional. So, dads are a big deal. They're the other half of the reason why we exist. So, we cannot ignore the fact that they are important in our lives. Some of us have been blessed to be raised by our fathers. Some of us have um, not had the luxury of being raised in the same household as our father, but the fathers have been a vital part of their growing up in their existence. And so there are varied scenarios with dads. And I am hoping tonight that we will have a conversation that will truly enlighten, shine the light on dads and why they are important. So I have a few special guests that I am going to bring in throughout the evening. But one special guest that will be joining me right now is Dr. April Woodard. And so she is going to join the conversation with me to kick this show off tonight. So I want you all to, again, like and share the broadcast and join me with a warm welcome for Dr. April Woodard. Welcome to the broadcast, Dr. Woodard.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you
Yes,
for the
thank you for
invite.
saying yes.
Absolutely. Anything for a sorority sister
Yes, yes, yes. So, yes, so we'll have to share with them how we became sisters.
and in a
Yes,
couple of ways. Yes, yes,
yes, yes, yes. So, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them who you are.
absolutely. April Woodard, I'm a native of Washington, D.C. Go Redskins, even though they changed the name to the Commanders, whatever. I am a Washingtonian at heart. I was raised in Dover, Delaware, Washington, D.C., Florida. I was a product of a teen mom and dad. And I am currently in my 31st year as an educator. It started with home economics. I don't know if you all remember being in a
Yep.
home economics class, but I was
I
a
remember.
home economics teacher. Now it's called Family and Consumer Sciences. And I am now a counselor, a professional school counselor in Clayton County Public Schools. I absolutely love working in Clayton County schools, and we get so many critics, but no one can do it like Clayton County. That's absolute. Even with that new APS schedule that just came out, I wouldn't trade Clayton County for anything. I would not. I'm also the co founder with my husband, Kelvin Woodard, of the Woodard Foundation. And our platform is about families, parenting, empowering parents,
Mm.
fathers and mothers, because we are in a society where some of the children are taking control of their homes. And I'm currently working on a book. The book is entitled Taking It Back Old School, Doing It God's Way.
Yeah.
And that is the platform that we are pushing: parent academies, parent workshops, helping these parents with children, because every day I see different dynamics dealing with parents, and parents are screaming and asking for help, especially children in this century and what they're dealing with the internet, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. It's critical. I am also a Toastmaster. Me
Yes.
and Dr. Shenita are in the same club, Clayton
Yes.
County Community Orators, which is going to be chartered June 27th. I'm really excited. And I'm also the member of the illustrious Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I am so happy to be here.
Yes, I am just so excited that you said yes and to connect with you through CCPS and all the amazing things that not only you're doing with CCPS, because I've seen some of that. I saw an email come by the other day and I was like, oh, I love that. Put your name on it. And so I've seen some of the things that you're doing with with the students, and I love this foundation.
Thank you.
Because parenting skills are vitally important. I
Yeah,
made a lot of mistakes as a young mother with my children before I learned parenting education.
absolutely.
And so I think it really needs to be a course like home ec was back then, right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
So that we can learn before we
Yeah.
make mistakes, right?
Mhm. And we did, coming up in home economics, we had to do parenting classes. We had to even stay in a home for a week and learn how to make the bed, wash clothes, make a sandwich. I got a C on making a sandwich. I was really
No,
upset.
you didn't.
Yes, because I didn't use the bread in sequential order. So I got a C on sandwich making. I was really
Oh,
upset. But anyway, I passed everything else. We had to take early childhood. And how many parents take early childhood?
that part.
And I would have to say, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I have the best two children in the whole universe. And I definitely contribute that to God, my upbringing, my mom and my dad. I had two dads actually growing
Mhm,
up.
mhm.
So that's a plus.
Yes,
And parents, but it takes a village. I mean,
it
it takes
does.
a village. And having that early childhood foundation was critical. A lot of
Yes.
parents don't have that formal education. And I tell students all the time, and you said it, you're not born with instructions. Parents don't know what to do. And sometimes those generational curses are real. And we do the same thing over and
Yes.
over again to our children, and we
Mm,
don't know any better. And I don't
yes,
fault parents, I don't, because you're doing the best that you know
but
how.
you know how.
And that's
Yes.
where the Wooded Foundation and other
Mm.
companies come in, where we can educate those parents and help them through this
I
journey.
cannot wait until we talk about the parenting piece because I started working with the Clayton County Cooperative Extension with UGA back in 2003, facilitating parenting education. And for probably more than 10 years total. But now I am facilitating a curriculum called Elevate for couples through UGA, through a
Amazing.
nonprofit in the area, you know.
Amazing.
So I love that piece is educating. And it's so important in terms of reducing the damage that's done through the process of parenting and raising children.
Mm, mm.
Because to be honest
That
with you,
damage is irreversible. I hate to say
it,
it. It
it
is.
is in many cases is irreversible. And to be honest with you, I made a lot of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And my adult children, my oldest is 41, my son is 37, and the youngest will be 35 this year. And so we talk about those challenges that they endured growing up because mom was not equipped in certain areas, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so it is imperative, first of all, that we not have children at a young age. And then secondly, learn and become educated on the growth process. what the expectations are. So we're not expecting a 2-year-old to sit in a chair quietly because they can't.
Right. Appropriateness, right. Developmentally appropriateness. That's a lot of parents don't have it. So I know
Exactly.
what it means. Age appropriateness and developmentally appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Absolutely.
I'm really excited about connecting with you on that. But let's talk about dads.
All
So,
right.
why dads are important. I kind of, shared a few things as we, launched the show. But tell me, well, first of all, let's do an icebreaker. Tell
Okay.
the audience something about you that they will be surprised to know.
Dealing with dads or just with me?
In general.
I was a professional clown.
Really?
Absolutely. I did children's shows. My name was Cheeks the Clown from These Cheeks. And I came
Wow.
out to different 80s. It was 80s and 90s, different 80s and 90s songs. And that was my platform. I had a great time. I did magic shows and made animal caricatures out of balloons. Had a great time.
Wow. Did you do that in Georgia?
I actually did it in Maryland.
Maryland. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I have a friend that's a professional clown, Mignon Walters.
Okay.
She's a CCPS employee, as a matter of fact, at
Okay.
Mount Zion Elementary.
Okay.
Yes, and she is she's awesome too. So I'll have to introduce you all to each other. Wow, I never would have guessed, but I love it. Cheeks. That is too cute. So let's go back to fathers. So tell me, why you feel they're important and how vitally important has your dad and bonus dad or both dads been in your life and your matriculating through childhood, through college, now an adult, a parent on your own. What has that been like for you?
It's been phenomenal. And I want to say something before we move on. The word bonus dad. I used to use that all the time. Bonus dad, bonus mom. I have a bonus mom as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in church Sunday, my pastor talked about the word stepfather. And he said a stepfather steps in and steps up. So why wouldn't you call him a stepfather? Because he stepped in and he stepped up.
I like that.
I might have to change back to stepfather.
Yeah.
Absolutely what I had in my life. And not saying that my dad was not there. I had both my biological father and I had an additional father. And when I got married, they both walked me down the aisle, both, because I couldn't say no to either one. So my father, my biological father who brought me in the world, brought me halfway. And then my bonus stepdad carried me with my dad down the rest of the way on the aisle. And I would have to say, as a girl, and I would just say I'm a girl dad, I definitely would. I love my fathers. I love both of them. It is amazing how, as a woman, those relationships that you have with your mothers can be so turbulent sometimes. And that father steps in and is like your shield, your cushion, your comforter. And that boost, that self-esteem booster, your driving instructor, your martial arts instructor. For me, my mechanics instructor, I can change tires, shocks, oil, all of that.
Wow.
I can change my thermostat on my car, all because of my dad's. And it's funny because my biological dad is still wowed by some of the things that I'm able to do, but it's because I was in the trenches with both my dads. When they were out there working on a car, I was right there. Wow. And I can be a princess, girl too, but I can be that, aggressive girl dad as well.
Get it done.
And yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'm not that woman who is like, oh my God, I can't. No, I'm like, if there's a will, there's a way. We're gonna get it done. That's just me. And I would definitely have to say I got that from both my fathers. And
awesome.
Fathers to me are important because it sets that bar for your spouse as well.
Yes.
Like, oh, my daddy does that. I can't be with anybody that doesn't do at least what my dad does for me.
Right.
You have to you have to match it. You have to match and exceed what he's doing, because that is that level of expectation.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you on that.
Yes.
I did not learn the changing of the tire, checking the oil. Because in our house, I had two brothers. I was in between both. I was in the kitchen and in the house to clean and cook. The boys did the grass, the car thing. And so I really wish that I had been pushed more to be diverse, right? So I'm the one that I'm looking for some. Can you come do? Yeah. So I'm that.
And the funny part about it is my mother, my biological mother, cannot cook. She can clean a house, okay?
Right.
She can clean a house. And there was a show, and I can't think, Home Makeover, Takeover. She can come in a house and say you have stuff everywhere. She can come in, throw some mirrors up, and just, transform the home to where it looks like a model home. That's my mom. She can clean. I'll never forget, for one Thanksgiving, she made a turkey and left all the stuff, the plastic, everything inside the turkey. My dad was like, we're going out. But my dad, my biological dad, can bake. When I say bake, he is doing the smoothies. He is just a phenomenal all-around man. He can cook, bake, do hair. He just does it all, and my stepdad, bonus dad, same way. Very, very resilient, can cook, can fix anything, and that's the men that I saw in my life.
Right.
Like, why are you not taking care of business,
Right. And one thing about it, I agree with you. My dad set the standard. So I grew up in a 2-parent home and grateful to have experienced that because so many people that I grew up with didn't. And so he set the tone. Now I did go against the grain, but I still remember the values and the things that he did with my mother, how he was such a man's man. And so I look at that as an example today for a partner. And I was blessed with a second husband who definitely exceeded my expectations on that level. So the first one didn't. I was a little rebellious. But the second one, I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord, for giving me a second chance.
Yes, absolutely.
So our second guest is here, Danny James. So we're going to invite him in to join us in this conversation. I'm so excited to have both of you here this afternoon. And let's bring him in all the way from San Antonio, Texas. Good evening. How are you?
USA.
Yes. How you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Good. Well, welcome. We are excited to have you and have you represent the men and as a father.
That's a weight.
Yes. Yeah. So meet Dr. Woodard there.
Hello. How are you, ma'am?
Elder James,
yes,
right
ma'am.
Here. So tell us something. We'll do a little icebreaker with you two. Tell us something that most people would be surprised to know about you.
Something simple. I was raised by my father only. My mother passed when I was 2. Was raised in an environment of 4 sisters and 1 brother. So it was, I was the youngest. My wife says baby. I'm not a baby anymore. So I was the youngest of 6. And and growing up as a kid, I had asthma. So I typically stayed in and out of the hospital. And my father trying to actually raise 6 kids by himself. And so when people ask me, what do you take from your father? And I will always tell them his work ethics. My father did not get remarried until I was 16. So he literally raised 4 girls. And I was listening to Dr. Woodard and listening to her talk about her father and her biological father, and was thinking about my father who, when it comes to how he raised us, the reality is none of us, we all finished high school. We all several of us attended college. Not all of us, I will be honest. But he did what a father did, and he for sure raised us all in the church, right? And so he kept us grounded and rooted. But he was the one who taught my sisters about personal hygiene and all of those things. He was the one that combed hair. So when I got married and had kids, God bless me with 2 daughters, I knew how to comb girls' hair because I had 4 sisters. So there were things that I probably didn't think I learned by being in that environment, but I learned by having 4 sisters, the necessity of combing hair and all of those things. But that's probably something like I would see as being raised in an environment of 4 sisters, but my father was a single father until I was 16.
It looks like a sister is saying you got us
good
too.
I love it.
Is that your sister?
Oh, it's one.
Danielle Isaac?
That is my daughter.
Oh, your daughter. Okay.
So Dad had her looking good.
Yes, Dad had us looking good too. I love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's my oldest daughter. She is actually in Fredericksburg, Virginia, with my son-in-law and 2 grandkids. I
love it. That is awesome. Well, my cousin Gerald, who I initially asked to be a guest tonight, said, my friend Danny James would be the guy. Yeah. And so I'm so glad
I will do my best.
Yes, I'm so glad that you said yes. And the fact that your father raised 6 children. Yes. And set the standard of what a real man is for you all.
Absolutely. I joke with people. His favorite line was "spare the rod, spoil the child," and then he added verbiage like "give your heart to God and you're behind to me." The reality to that, I always thought that was in the Bible because he quoted the scripture and then he added that verbiage. And so for years, I thought "give your heart to God and you're behind to me" was a part of that scripture because he used it in content every single time he was preparing to add the rod, if you would say.
Right, right.
He used it consistently.
Yes. So I just appreciate when I hear dads. We're going to honor 2 dads tonight that are doing an amazing job with their children. And one in particular, I've seen him in action combing all 3 of his princesses' hair. So I'm sure the other one probably does too. So I'm going to invite those 2 dads in to join us in this conversation. And
I don't stand alone. Great job.
You won't have to stand alone. And I want us to, ask them some great questions. So let's talk to these amazing fathers. And I'll let them introduce themselves. So the first one is a mentor of mine that I have been knowing for more than 10 years, more than probably 15 maybe, or close to that. So Oba, welcome.
Hi everybody.
How are you?
I'm well.
Good. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you. And my co-host here, Dr. April Woodard and Elder Danny James has joined me. And so we have one more dad that I'm going to bring in, Jacques Hall Jr. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to both of you all. And so, Danny, you're not alone tonight.
Hey, man, look at God.
Yeah, so we have these amazing dads that I just wanted to bring them out because we watch moms do a lot, and I'll never take away the value and the importance of a mother, but there will be no us without the 2, right? And so I just want to make sure that we recognize and give honor to our dads as well. So, gentlemen, would you all take a moment and introduce yourselves to the audience? Oba, if you would start out, and then Jacques, would you fill in behind him?
Okay, so I'm a aircraft mechanic with Delta. I work hard, and the best part of my day, even though it's a very good job, is coming home to a family that I cannot do without. So right now I have two young daughters, one age 7 and the other age 3 that live with me. So I cannot emphasize how much they mean to me. So when Miss Shenita asked me to join this conversation, I mean, it might have been sometime this week, but really and truly, it really started, this whole conversation started about 10 years ago. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'm honored to be able to give back.
Yes. Thank you so much. And do you comb those girls' hair?
Sometimes I do. I still, just in case of emergency, I gotta be able to.
He said in case of emergency.
Yeah.
Just in case of an emergency, you know how to.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to start like that, it's all. We do it all.
Yes.
We do it all.
That's what I love, is dads who can step up to the plate and do it all. April, do you or Danny, do y'all have a question for Oba?
So you said a 3 and a 7. There's another, you said?
Yeah, I have a 10-year-old. She's in Connecticut.
Oh, okay. What part?
East Hartford.
Okay. I taught in Bridgeport, so I was just wondering.
Okay.
Yeah, it was rough. I had Latin Kings and some other stuff I was dealing with, but that's amazing. So you have 3 girls.
Yes.
That's beautiful. So you're a girl dad for real. It's amazing.
Yes, he's a girl dad.
Beautiful.
So, Jacques, would you introduce yourself to the audience and tell them a little bit about you and your daddy, your proud dad moments?
Wow. First, let me just say thank you for even having me on for something like this. And I grabbed my my tablet because what I know about my life is that my phone rings every 17 seconds. So I'm going to switch over here so that doesn't happen again. All right.
Okay, so I'll take you out here and move you over here.
Mm-hmm. All right.
There we go.
All right. How's that?
That's perfect.
All right. Awesome sauce. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, sorry about that. I was like, man, that phone rang 3 times in less than 1 minute. So and because of that, so I'm a realtor, and I'm a father of 3 beautiful little girls. Yep. So I too am a girl dad. Actually, I had a son that passed away a little over a year and a half or two ago now, but bona fide girl dad. I love what I do. I love the beautiful blessing of being able to be not just a father, but an active father. I heard the gentleman talking at first about doing hair. I do it all. I do the hair. I wash the hair. I straighten the hair, blow dry the hair, braid the hair. Yep, you name it. And I'm that guy. So I absolutely adore my babies, 3, 5, and 7. No, 4, 5, and 7 now. And it's just it's one of the most amazing jobs that anybody could ask for. So that's me.
Let me tell you what caught my attention about Jacques is literally he would do videos of him and the girls doing their hair and having conversations, and it was the most adorable videos to see the connection, the bonding of dad-daughter time. And so that has just stuck with me. And I know there's so many other dads out there that
Mhm.
you know, do the same. But I wanted to just have you and Oba, because I've watched the two of you with your girls, and I'm just really proud that those girls have you all as their dads, which is so very important. Ladies, I'm sorry, Dr. April or Danny, would you like to ask them a question?
So, what is probably the most rewarding thing about raising your daughters that you see that you can think about?
I think when you stop and consider the contribution, like for me, I don't know for anybody else, but the contribution to my family that my grandmother, especially my mother, made to the family, it's phenomenal. It's irreplaceable, definitely. You know, and it's the best thing to ever happen to my family. I could also add that, so that I have a chance to pass down what they started, you know, through continuing the work. And yes, at first I wanted a boy. I wanted a boy so bad, you know, that I said, you know, if I had a boy, I'd have shut it down. That would have been it. You know, and then it was one, and then it was two, and then it was three. And definitely they have changed, these young ladies have changed everything in perspective as to how I look at children, how I look at protecting children, look at spending time with them. You know, it was supposed to be football, you know, but it's totally changed. It's just coming home, putting on the Bluetooth and jumping around and you know, doing doll hair and going on the slide and the pool instead of playing football. And you know, it's changed. It's definitely changed. You know, sometimes you ask God for something, and you know, He gives you something else, and you have no reason, no idea at that point why, you know, why you got that. But thank God for the blessing. You
Yeah.
know, and I really appreciate how much they have changed me. I could hardly talk about how much I have impacted on them, but yeah, definitely.
Uh, that's key.
Awesome. And
And I
Jacques?
have a question when if you he's gonna and Jock's gonna answer that same one.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you got to remind me of the question. What's the most rewarding thing about being a father
All
to
right, for
girls,
daughters.
for daughters? Yeah. I like to think that I've always had a very tapped in soft side to me. But having girls certainly has raised my empathy levels and my gentleness. Um, um, and so, you know, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, man, you know, as a man raising girls, you know, you want to be as soft as possible, and at the same time being as strong as possible. So I think that one of the most rewarding parts for me is just being able to tap into an additional side of me that I didn't know really existed. So yeah.
I love it. Because you
Yeah.
definitely got to be sensible and sensitive for the girls.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Danny, you know, you have grown children, and
Yes.
what was that like for you with them growing up? You know, being sensitive, and how important was that?
I will probably chime off with something both the gentlemen said. Having daughters, you know, they always say a the daughter has the father wrapped around the finger. I think both of my girls from the start helped me understand the value of having the responsibility of being a father, right? And so for me, really, as they were growing up, I tried to be the protector As they've gotten older, I have a greater understanding that I have to be a covering, right? And so I spend a lot of time praying and asking God to protect as I'm covering them in prayer. But at the same time, is trying to be the right example of what a father should be, what a man should be, and really trying to be the example of what I would want them to look for as they started, quote unquote, wanting to date, quote unquote, then get married, right? And so I really try to be that that mirror that when they look at their mother, they saw a desire that they would want.
I love it.
Yes. Yes.
April?
Yes. I have a question. It's a difficult question. I am a huge supporter of men that are active in their children's lives, whether still with the mom or not. What would you tell those fathers who are not in the homes, who are not raising their children because of some type of relationship strain? What do you say to those dads to help them stay motivated to want to still be involved, even though the relationship with the mom may be very strained? What do you say to those dads to keep them motivated, to help them understand how important it is for them to still be active in their children's lives?
Well, I think honestly, I mean, if I can jump in there, I think that you can't motivate an unmotivated man to be what he needs to be for his children. I think I spent so much of my life in that motivating space, where you're trying to give something to someone who may not have it or not be willing to have it. But if I was able to say something to a man who was struggling with his relationship with the mother of his children, I would just always encourage him to remember that the children were optional. They didn't show up because they wanted to show up. You made a choice to bring them here by either your actions or continuing your actions. So just remembering that because they were somewhere and they didn't ask to be here, they're your responsibility. And just remember how it's going to affect them if you choose to allow the issues between the mother and you to get in the way of you being what you are supposed to be or need to be for your children. But I'm a strong proponent of recognizing that there's little that someone can do to motivate a man who is not motivated to take care of his children.
Love it. Love it.
Mm.
Well
I,
said. Well said.
I got something to say on that too. I was on the airplane with a gentleman. I didn't know this guy from Adam. He only knew that I was heading towards seeing my daughter and I lived in a different state. And he started speaking about his divorce. And he said to me, he said, "Hook, I know you pumped up. I know you want to see her first step. I know you want to see when she first turns over and hear her first words. Most likely it's going to be dada, and you're going to miss it. But I call my daughter every day." He said, "One thing I want you to always remember is that you get to walk alongside her, regardless of what her mom does, for a lifetime. And I want you to keep that with you so that no matter what happens between her and her mom, you and her mom, that she recognizes that you would always be there for her, no matter what." And that resounds in my head every single day I call my daughter. That's why I tuned in a little later than 7 o'clock, because I did. So I mean, it'll be all well and nice if everybody works how, in the best interest of the child. But if it doesn't, you have a distinct responsibility to be there for that child, no matter what.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think one of those things as well is I do understand what Jock is saying, but I think the encouragement is, especially when you're raising a daughter, I think the encouragement with that father is to help him understand to never let your daughter grow up not knowing who you are. Because at the end of the day, as they get older, they're going to look for the absence
Right.
for who you are not, right? And so the value is whether the relationship with you and the mother is inconsistent, you have to, as that father, be persistent to at least let your daughter know who you are, the value of how you feel about her, and the worth that she is in your life. So, and I think that's important because in today's society, when we look at young ladies that's coming up today, I would probably say the average young lady that you probably see on social media or different things acting in a way, the father was probably inconsistent in her life and she doesn't know her worth, right? And so as a father, I think it's very important that we be persistent. And so I do understand what the gentleman is talking about, the effort to try to motivate a person that's unmotivatable. But I think we really have to. I typically would ask a young man, if your daughter grew up tomorrow and wanted to marry you, would you want your daughter to marry you? And if the answer is no, then you're not doing your job.
All right. All right.
Good. Well, we have another one of my colleagues I want to introduce. I know he is traveling, but he is such a part of Life with Shenita and so much more. Author Andrew Snorton, welcome to the episode of Dads Are Important Too.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience. Technology is a wonderful thing, and so but I hope everyone is having a good day and a good week. Obviously, happy belated Father's Day to all the dads, granddads, uncles, godparents, and men who take on that role. Just a couple of real quick things, catching some of the points that I've been able to. The number one thing is your consistency, and your absence is not an option.
Right.
Negative adversarial options. So just like all the gentlemen who've been on before and the gentlemen I've been able to listen in on, you have possible. Be consistent with your communication, be consistent with the time spent, be consistent with modeling and demonstrating how you should be treated and things along those lines. And like others have probably said, your presence is your present, and there's no better time than the present. So, the men who've been on the panel tonight, you're dropping timely for anybody across the board. Keep being the examples you are for your family and community, and continue to motivate, uplift, encourage, and just leave as positive a footprint as you can, because as people have said, when we don't, we already know what the outcomes are going to be. So might as well give it the most consistent and honest effort you can.
Yes. And Andrew, tell us how important your dad was to you growing up.
Oh, he still is. I mean, my dad, I consistently remember, both parents, but like my dad coached my sister and me in different sports, was very actively engaged. We did, trying to think, Indian guides, church related, family trips. He worked tirelessly, but he always made time. And I think one of the greatest examples is one of the things I talked about in my book, Nothing Minor, where growing up on a Saturday afternoon, we'd sit and watch the baseball game of the week. And it's funny, we'd order a pizza, he'd have his beer, I'd have my Kool-Aid and try to hustle sipping on beer, but that didn't work out too well. But just time, and honestly, like looking at all that data from like bad averages, that's how I learned how to do a lot of math. So my dad consistently made time for my sister and I. And even to this day, when I call, I've got to bounce an idea off of him. He'll give me some things to think about. And I know he does that, for my brother-in-law and, others. So.
Well, that was a great point.
Yes.
Great point. And so with that being said, because, we're coming into the closing of the hour, but I want us to, he's back.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I don't know, technology acting funny, but seriously, my dad made time for my older sister, for me, across the board, whether it was academics, whether it was faith related, sports related, things along those lines. So a lot of what I do, to the best of my ability, I borrow from my dad. And I'll take it a step further. Even my granddad on my mom's side, and uncles. There are a number of men who, to different degrees, poured into me. So I kind of took the best of what they do, and just try to do that, as best as I can. And just like others have said, just try to identify what consistency looks like. And just execute it to the best of your ability, and make sure your mistakes are workable mistakes, where you're making mistakes due to trying to get it right versus disregard or neglect. And people will see it. People will see when you're making an honest effort. They might not always acknowledge it, but when you're trying and you're trying to get it right, you'll be surprised who comes and helps you out. Definitely.
Yeah. And, just to piggyback off that, my dad only had a third grade education, but education was so important to him that we went through private school from first grade to 12th grade, because he didn't want us to struggle, educationally like he did. And so sometimes when I pushed my kids really, really hard in the academia world, and even still to this day. And I want us to share something that we can remember that our fathers instilled in us. One thing, if it was a godfather, a grandfather, our biological father, our stepfather / bonus father, one thing that we can remember. Education was one for me. And then the other piece was your name is valuable. And I want you to remember that. He always taught us your reputation speaks volumes about who you are and where you came from. So, Dr. Woodard, what is one thing that you can recall?
I can do anything. That resonates with me every single day. Doesn't matter. I can do anything I want to do. I can do anything. And I believe that.
I love it. That's great advice. Danny?
I would say the thing I learned from my father is my father loved us through actions. He started telling us he loved us verbally as we got older and moved on with life. But I think what I learned from my father is love through action, because love is an action word. So I think that was probably one of the biggest things that I saw, when you were raised as a kid. Sometimes you have those questions as, do your father or your parents love you? But then you look at the actions. So I think what I learned from my father is to love through action.
I can relate to that. Yes. Oba? One thing that dad instilled in you, or granddad, or a mentor.
I think he was having problems. Yeah.
Okay. Doc?
My dad was a very there we go. Sorry. My dad wasn't the most conventional dad, so my dad gave me a lot of life lessons. And one of those things was he would tell me, he'll say, son, you don't have to spend too much time arguing with somebody. He said, you sit back and don't have an answer. The best answer to most things is And so most of my conversations, they don't fall on the agree or disagree. It's a
I love it.
It's blessed my adult life greatly.
And you know what? If your dad was as funny as you are, I bet he was funny.
He's a funny guy. He is a funny guy.
Oh, Doc tells the best stories. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I get it from him.
Yes, I love it. Oba, one thing that your dad or bonus dad or granddad said that sticks with you today.
I mostly grew up with my mom, and when I was about 15, I went over to live with my dad. But I would just look at how cool he was. You know, no matter how adverse stuff was, he would always have that calm, collective demeanor. And I said to myself, man, what about if I had this from the start? You know, and then I said, you know what? I have to be that for my kids. So, you know, just staying calm no matter how tough and it's gonna get tough. Just weathering it with each other. That's all they need, each other.
Yeah, weathering the storm.
Yeah, that's the part I took away from my whole childhood and everything.
Experience with your dad.
Well, let me give you my immediate observation. You're cool and collected.
Yes.
You passed. You got it.
He definitely got it.
Thank you.
And I was hoping Andrew would be able to share, but
because he had his hand up, he was like,
yes, he's driving, so
he had his hand up. He was ready. There he goes.
Andrew, one thing that resonates with you.
One thing: don't be afraid of hard work, because everything isn't going to come easy. So don't be afraid of hard work.
That's good. That's great. And, you know, one thing I want to say to the audience, you know, we kind of hit on the parents may not be together. They may not live together raising those children. But one thing that I was adamant about when my first husband and I split up is I was not going to talk bad about him to those children.
Absolutely.
And I figured eventually, as they grow older, if there was something for them to know about him or to observe about him, they would figure that out. And they did. And so, but they weren't going to hear mom, you know, talking bad about him. I just was not going to do it.
Absolutely.
Although I wanted to beat him up.
Oh, no, don't say that. I have a quick one and probably only have time for one person to respond. How do you all feel, and this is my pet peeve, about women who say Happy Father's Day to other women? Or they say, oh, it's Father's Day, I'm a father. You know, how do you feel about that? Do y'all feel
that's so disrespectful.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Disrespectful. I think it's very disrespectful.
And it's not a badge of honor.
I agree.
One word.
That is a pet peeve. I posted about that this Father's Day. I said, if you put it on your page, I'm deleting you immediately.
I don't like it.
I got a different take on it though. But I mean, a village raises the child. So I mean, you never know who it's going to be. It's not who you want, it's who God gave you. So if you acknowledge the presence of that person, I don't think there's anything wrong in it.
But are they a father or they're a mother? I mean, Happy Mother's Day, they have their day. So if you're a mother, that's your day, not Father's Day.
I hear you, but there are definitely people that fill both roles. Like if you think of a conventional father, you know, you don't think of some of the stuff that we do every day. These gentlemen on this panel. So
I don't think you're filling both roles.
Nah,
you're filling a role, period. You're filling a role as a mother. You're filling a role as a father. And there are no parameters on who does what, you know? Yeah.
I hear you. So I don't, you know, it's...
And I, respectfully, you know, I appreciate your perspective or your view on it. And, but when people say Happy Father's Day to me, I don't like it. Although I was a single mom for a long time.
Yeah, don't identify me as the mother. That's no thank you. Like,
Right.
I don't want to be
my father
told Happy
raised
Mother's
6
Day.
kids by himself until I was 16. And I don't think he ever thought of himself as a mother and a father. He thought of himself as a parent who was raising 6 kids. And I think that if the father is in existence, then somewhere down the line, there's a disconnect on where the relationship is. But I think that removes and it says something to the kids that causes, like, the unfortunate statement of a deadbeat dad. There may be dads out there being labeled deadbeat that's actually trying to be active in their child's life that's not been given the opportunity to be. So
Many
I think
times
that remark adds to that comment of the father was non-existent. But is that true or not, right? It's not always true that the father is non-existent. Where does the relationship lie between the mother and the father? But the person who suffers the most is the child.
Right.
And I don't want to say everybody is totally entitled to their opinion. I understand what you're saying about a person filling both roles, but I want you to hear, and I hear your point of view. I just want you to hear that point of view, that when you're a mother, you're a mother. You do whatever it takes. When you're a father, you're a father. You do whatever it takes. You don't change the roles. The roles are what they are. And that's the only thing I wanted to say. So I respect your opinion, absolutely.
And just to kind of potentially maybe bring this home a little bit closer, like, the role of a mother is only outlined by her genitalia and ability to reproduce. Like, I don't think that, and the role of a father, as far as like gender specific positioning, like my wife, I do my daughter's hair. Like, it's not a gender specific responsibility. Like, she is their mother because by the nature of her ability to create the child and carry, she's their mother. Now she mothers them, she nurtures them, and I father them as their father, but there's no gender specific role outside of breastfeeding that I think that we would be able to just say, this is the mother's role, this is the father's role. I think that if someone tells me Happy Mother's Day, I'm going to take that as an insult, because at this, it's basically telling me I'm a woman. That I, as a man, and as a father, as a parent, I can do it all if I have to. So, I don't know. I just think it's unnecessary to kind of to divide those party lines so heavy. I'm a parent, and whatever I need to do for my children, I'm going to do those things for my children. To be totally honest, I teach my daughters by YouTube videos and learning life how they're supposed to care for their vaginas. Like, is that a mother role or is that a parental role? I don't think that, I just think it's just disrespectful to call out another person, out of a space that they have been God-given the physical role to be. Maybe they're not great fathers, maybe they're not great mothers there, but I don't need a Happy Mother's Day. I'm a parent. Now, that's just me.
Yeah. I appreciate this conversation. This is a healthy conversation, and it's I love the perspectives from everyone, and the fact that we can agree to disagree respectfully. That's what I love most.
Absolutely.
And so it is what it is. I don't care to be called a father, because I'm not, although I've been a single parent, not by choice, by force. So it wasn't a happy space for me, many times, and particularly as a mother of 3 children. I have a son who's serving time in prison because of a decision that he made. So, there's still some, I can say, some real tough moments of that journey that I have some resentment to their dad for not being as active as he should have been in their lives. And so I'm working through those challenges. as well. So, but these two dads are phenomenal, and I just appreciate them. And I have, I'm going to send you all, both of you all, a Cash App because I want you to treat yourself on behalf of Life with Shenita. I just think that, we celebrate mothers and we need to make sure we celebrate these dads too. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Absolutely.
Add that to
Well,
your free maple bacon chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A. You can get a drink or some waffle fries. I don't know which.
There you go. Because it's free, right?
Right. Get your free sandwich and add to the meal.
Yes. And still have a few coins in your pocket.
Right.
there it is.
So thank you,
thank you.
dads. And thank you, Danny, who is a father as well, for joining the conversation. We appreciate and we celebrate dads for being, just amazing, just like moms. I think you guys have a space and a place and you should be recognized. I truly do believe that you're important too. And so we thank you all for sharing this moment with us this evening.
Can we end with that shirt he has on? Can we read those words on that shirt?
Will you read it for us, Dr. Woodard?
It says hero, leader, protector, provider, strong Black father. That epitomizes everyone on the screen.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes. And before we go out, I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to shout out their business. Because I think it's important. Everybody that knows me knows that I believe sharing is caring. And so if there is a business that you have or, something that you want to draw people to, please take a moment and share that, starting with the ladies, because I always believe ladies are first. So woo-woo.
That's where those gender roles come in. We go first.
Yes. So Dr.
So me first or you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I do so much, but I'll say the one that I really want to push, I would definitely say the Woodard Foundation and Parent Academy. We're doing a gala soon in December 14th to be exact. Look for the invite to raise money to do free parenting classes. And I'm also a first aid and CPR instructor. I just did some training today. So if you know anyone that needs serve safe CPR instruction, I do all that.
Awesome. See, that's why sharing is caring. People don't understand the value in giving people an opportunity to share because you never know who might need what. So thank you for that. Danny?
Shout out. I'm a self-motivated mentor. So if anybody ever needs to be mentored or encouraged, I am available and accessible. I do a lot for a lot of the men in our church. And so my heart is to see men come into who they're supposed to be and who God created them to be. So that's my passion, is to mentor men.
Did you put your email in the chat?
I love it. Yeah. Can you put your email in the chat and I'll share it? Mm-hmm. And I'll share it on the post, everybody's. Oba?
I got nothing.
Oh, but you work for Delta Airlines.
Yes, so he might have a buddy pass.
Yeah.
No, just joking.
Career fair. Help get somebody get an aviation job or something. If they want to become a mechanic, you got a whole bunch.
If you're interested in anything in the airport, I wouldn't just say what I do. Whether you want to be a counter attendant or a ramp attendant or work in stores, you go to delta.com, you go down to the bottom. They have a really small careers tab that you could click on, and then they'll show you everything that they have available in every country that they have it available. So don't just think about America. You could and drive,
Yes, that's a great suggestion. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Jacques Hall,
a realtor. Yes.
Yep, that's what I do. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Metro Atlanta area, and do some real estate investing as well. So if you're looking for a house, let me know.
And so what I'll do is I will add everybody's information or tag them in the post so that they can contact you all if they desire to. But
Absolutely.
again, to our dads, our guest dads, Jock and Oba, we thank you all for being the extraordinary fathers that you are to your princesses. And we salute you today and always. And as you know, Oba, I'm always here as a mentor, parent educator. That's how we met. And I'm so grateful that we did. And Jock, I'm so grateful that we met, on this journey, particularly summer camp, where my granddaughter is. Today I'm so glad that, we met, and I already knew your mother, your beautiful mother, and bonus dad. And so it's just a blessing to know each and every one of you all, including you, Danny, the connection with my cousin Gerald and Della, and your beautiful wife, who was a part of my virtual book club back in 2020. So
she loves to read.
Yes, it was a wonderful time we had. And so your daughter Danielle said,
She has your whole face. Danielle has your whole face and your name.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, she does.
Oh,
Daddy's
my goodness,
girl.
she's beautiful. Look at her.
Yes.
Does she model?
No, she does not.
She's beautiful.
She is cosmetology. Indeed. She does hair, and she also in the locks. So.
Okay, awesome.
Esthetician, cosmetologist.
Yes. Great profession.
Beautiful, Danielle. You're beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And she is also
Danielle.
a life coach.
She's a life coach.
Awesome.
Okay. Awesome.
So she loves to invest into young women. Right.
Okay.
So she
I need to talk to her. I need a mentor. I need a mentor.
Yes.
I need mentors for our middle schoolers. I need her bad.
Yeah. So let's see if we can make that connection.
Danielle, put your information in there. There you go.
Please, I need her bad. Yes, we need them so bad.
So to everyone else out there, we thank you all for watching. We hope that this broadcast has been beneficial, enjoying, enlightening, and celebratory for our dads all over the world. So thank you all for tuning in again to Life with Shenita's talk show. I am on every third Thursday of the month. The Gen Zs are on every fourth Thursday of the month. And so I'm grateful for those young men. And I'm grateful for all of you all. So have an amazing rest of your evening. And remember, I love you, but God loves you most, and he loves you best. Peace, love, joy today and always. And would you all stay right there? Thank you, Gerald.
Yes, great job.